Hi guys, thanks for joining me. I'm Marilyn. Now, a couple of days ago, my husband had been out in the garage for quite a while. So I went out to see what he was doing, and he was cleaning the garage. In his trash pile was a little piece of wood. It was just a scrap, and you can see on the back it's pretty rough. So I brought it in the house and started planning my project. Using a little bit of fabric and a little bit of HTV, some heat and bond, my Cricut Maker with the rotary blade and the fine point blade, and my Easy Press Mini, I made this sign. Now, some other things you don't see here, things like scissors, weeding tools, and a computer were also used. I made a recording of every step along the way, so if you like the idea of having the flexibility of the colors and patterns of fabric, keep watching the video. Now, the first two things I want to do, one, go ahead and paint my board so it can be drying, and then also adhere my heat and bond to my fabric so it can be cooling off. I'm going to use some chalk paint today. I really like it because it dries very matte, and you can really smooth it out so that you don't have brush strokes. I have a little craft paper under my board, and then just some old wax paper. I put the things that were on it to the inside, and I can reuse it just to put my paint on. And I'm going to put probably 2 light coats on this. One of the really nice things about chalk paint is it dries super quickly. This side of my board is fairly dry, so you don't even have to wait really very long between coats. Okay, I'll go ahead and let that dry all the way, and then I'll see if I need to touch it up at all. If I do, I'll add one more coat and it'll be ready. I realized that until I have my design, I really don't know how large to cut my fabric or my heat and bond. So let's jump into the design. The first thing I'll do is just put a template of my board on the screen. So I'll go to Shapes, click on Square. My board is about 16 inches wide by 7.5 inches tall. So I'm going to have to unlock the dimensions or the proportions. You can click right here, or you can go up and click right here. I'm there, so I'll go ahead and click that. Then for my width, I'll go ahead and enter 16, tab over, and 7.5. Then I want to go ahead and change the color of my board to white. Okay, so I zoomed out just one time so we could see it a little bit better. Next thing I'll do is I'll click on text, and then in all caps, I'm going to type the word spring. Right now it's on Cricut Sans, but I want to change that to impact. Because I'm going to be cutting fabric, I want something very bulky and just very plain. Not a lot of small details. So I'll click on the font, and then right here I can search for impact. And then I'll select that. Okay, let's just drag this so it's really large. And the first thing I notice is I want my letters to be a little closer together. And then the second thing is I want it to be taller but not wider. So let's get the letters spaced where I like them. I'll hit the down arrow on the letter spacing. I like the way most of those came together, but if there's anything in this that you don't like once you've used the letter spacing, you can hit ungroup while they're still selected, and then you can move each individual letter. So this one I want to come over just a little bit, and then I'll bring my S back over to my P. Okay, now they're not quite perfectly aligned. Whoops. So I'll go ahead and select my S, hold the command button down, and then I'll select the rest of the letters. You could either do that on your template or you could click them over here. Now that they're all selected, I'm going to go to Align, and I'll just align the bottoms, and you're probably going to see this one move maybe down a little bit. I don't know. Look, my G's all the way down. Let's just see what happens. So we'll align the bottom. Okay, that looks better. Now I want to make them taller but not wider, so I have to unlock the proportions. I'll do that right here, and then I can just drag down until I like the shape. Now let's get a better color. My fabric's a bright pink. I'm going to go with this bright purple, just so that it looks really springy. Okay, I think I might drag that just a little bit narrower. Okay, I like that, so I'll go ahead and lock those proportions. Now, I want to say has sprung under here. Spring has sprung. So I'll click on text. Then I need to push the caps lock because it was locked, and then I don't want it locked. So now I'll type in all smaller case, has sprung. Now I want this to be a script font, so I'm looking for a font called Hello Honey. Notice that in the picture here, it does not look like it's a script font at all, but it really is. So I'll go ahead and select that, and you see here, it changed to a script font. Okay, until I get the details the way I want them, I'll go ahead and make that really large. Again, I'm going to start with the letter spacing. I'll just decrease it until I like the way some of the letters are spaced. Okay, the big thing I see is now I need a space between the S's, and I don't really like how this is. So the first thing I need to do is ungroup. Then I can select all the letters on the right side. Okay, I'm just going to drag my cursor over each of the letters. And I'll move those over where I think I'd like them. Then I need to ungroup that word so that I can try to move the R. Or actually, I'll move the P. Let's move that over, see if that looks any better. Okay, I can live with that. I'll move my S a little bit closer to the P. Then once again, I need to select each of these letters. And I find it's easier sometimes just to select them individually. So I clicked on the S. Now I'm just going to add each letter to it. When you have layers and layers are on top of layers, sometimes it's easier just to select them this way. So let's go ahead and group that together. And actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to drag this down for a minute. I'll select everything in the has sprung, and I need to weld those. If I did not weld the letters together, you would have cut lines between each of the letters. I go right here and I click on weld. Okay, so we can bring our template back. And you can see the sizing is off. I want this to be quite a bit smaller. Right now, it's just really crowding the board. What I really want to grab your attention is the word spring, but I wanted a little more detail. Okay, I realize I have not grouped these together yet, and actually I'm going to go ahead and attach them. By attaching letters together, you know they're going to cut the way they look on your screen. So I'm going to select all the letters in the word spring, and then right here click on attach. Okay, so now I can really get to the fine details. And one thing, I think I want this phrase a little wider. And then I'd like my H to go up slightly in between the P and the R. I think I'll make it just a little bit wider still. Okay, I like that. Now I like things offset, but something in my brain says, ooh, I don't like this. So I'm just going to add a tiny little detail over there. And I'm going to go to Shapes, click on Circle. Then I want to make this circle just really small. I don't have any certain size. I just want it to be small and inconspicuous, yet give some balance. And looks like I need 3 or 4, so I'm going to hit Command C for copy and then Command V for paste, and I'll paste 3 more on there. And then I'll just kind of start getting them put where I think they should go. I'll select all 4 circles. Then I'm going to go up here to Align, and I'll say Center vertically. And then to have equal spacing between them, I'll go back to Align, and down here under Distribute, I'm going to say Distribute horizontally. And that spaced them out the way they needed to be. Now I'll go ahead and attach those together and move them into place. Okay, I like that. So since I'm going to cut these out of the same fabric or the same material as my has sprung, I need to have them all be the same color and attach them together. And actually, if I just hit attach, it'll change them the same color. Right now, it looks like these are a little bit grayish. So let's click on attach. Now everything will cut just the way you see it. When I cut my design, spring will be cut just the way you see it with the pretty side up, so I don't need to mirror that. However, I'm going to cut has sprung out of heat transfer vinyl. So when I send this to the maker, I'll need to remember to mirror this part. Now that I have my word the size I want it, I know what size of fabric I need. Then here's my fabric I'm going to use. This is called a fat quarter. They have a lot of these at Walmart. They are very convenient because you can just grab the one you want. However, I wouldn't say that they are a great buy. And if you find fabric there that you can buy by the yard, you can buy as little as 4 inches of it. So that would be 1/9 of a yard. So I think I would have been better off to buy like an 8-inch piece of fabric. But again, this was convenient, so I grabbed it. Now I decided I needed a piece 13.5 inches by 5.5 inches. The first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and iron this to get it kind of smoothed out. You could use a home iron, you could use an easy press. But for me, I have my easy press up here. It's heating up, so I'll just go ahead and use that. Now here's my heat and bond. I want to go ahead and cut a piece of this the same size as my fabric. This is the Ultra Hold. They have one that's just a normal hold, and I think they even have a light hold. I've only used the Ultra Hold, and it's worked well for all my projects. With heat and bond, you have this glue that's exposed, and then you have a piece of paper. What we'll do is we'll turn this over with the glue side down on the fabric. And then I don't want to take any chances at ruining my expensive Cricut mat, so I'm going to go ahead and put a Teflon sheet down. When you're adhering this to your fabric, the first time you only heat it for 2 seconds. So I'll heat the whole thing for about 2 seconds, then I'll let it cool for really just about 2 or 3 minutes. Because my design, the part that's going to be cut out of fabric, is larger than 12 inches wide, I need to use my 2-foot mat. I have my fabric adhered to the mat. The paper of the heat and bond is against the mat. For my setting, I picked heavy fabrics like denim so that it would tell me to use my rotary blade. So I'm going to go ahead and put my rotary blade in and we'll start the cut. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to remove this. I don't want to use transfer tape on this. I think that as you pull the transfer tape off, it might pull some of the fibers. So for now, I'll just take them off. And you can see the shiny on the back, that is the heat and bond, so it's ready to iron to my board. I guess if you were really concerned about placing them correctly, you could actually cut this out of a piece of cardstock or something like that, a piece of paper, and then you could weed out the letters and use what's left as a stencil. That would allow you to place these perfectly. But I don't think I need to do that. Now I'm ready for my second layer, and I don't know how this will look, but I'm going to try it. I've had this sitting around for forever. I haven't used it, so it's time that I try it on something. Before I adhere it down to my board, I'll make sure I like it. If I don't, I'll pick a different HTV. Now for this one, I'll use the setting Cricut Patterned HTV or Cricut Patterned Iron-On. I can't remember what it's called. And then I'll need to change my blade back to the fine point blade. One last thing, don't forget, mirror this part of your design. Okay, the setting was Patterned Iron-On, and it shows it's a Cricut product, which this is. Okay, I'll go ahead and weed this design. So I'm just going to poke through in a corner and start pulling the backing off. Uh-oh, I think I sliced out my last circle. Well, I can either cut one more or see how it looks with 3. And I guess odd numbered things are a good thing, so we'll just try it with 3. Okay, I'm not so sure about this pattern with my word spring. So I'll lay it all down and see what it looks like. Okay, I like the placement of how far down the R is, so I'm going to go ahead and put my washi tape down. Once I get it down, I'll go ahead and measure from the washi tape to the bottom of the board just to make sure I have it straight. Okay, that looks good, so I'm just going to place my letters so they come down and they're touching the washi tape. Okay, so they're equal on the outside. I just need to do a final check and a final spacing just to make sure I like how it looks. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go with that. So I have my little Easy Press Mini. I'm going to put it on medium. So 2 lines are now orange. When they turn green, I'm ready to use it. While we're waiting, let me look at the instructions on the heat and bond. When I heated the first layer to my fabric, it said to hold the iron on it for 2 seconds. Then after you cut it, you put it back down on whatever you're adhering it to and heat it for 8 seconds. I think on my other video where I made a sign like this, I actually just did it for 2 seconds the second time. This time we'll do it a little bit longer. Now, it beeped, so it's ready to go. I'm going to start by adhering the tops of each letter. That way I can go ahead and take the washi tape off and finish up. Okay, so those are adhered enough to go ahead and remove the tape. And then just bear with me while I go ahead and get all the letters stuck down. Alright, that feels pretty good. I think I'll just do one last pressing over each letter, just a very quick pressing. Okay, so it's decision time. Here's some of the vinyl I weeded away so I can see the color of it a little bit better. You know, I like that there's dark here and brighter here. I think I'm going to go for it. Cricut's interactive heat guide told me to do this on a medium setting for 30 seconds. I don't know that I want my iron on this painted wood for 30 seconds, so I'm going to put this little piece of, I don't know, it's like butcher paper, over it while I'm heating it. Okay, I feel like that looks pretty good. I don't want my R to accidentally get up on my end, so that's where I'm going to start. And again, I'll do about 30 seconds, and then I'll move on to the rest of the design. Now, Cricut's interactive heat guide said, on wood, let this cool to the touch, then peel the liner off. So I'm going to give this about 5 minutes to cool down. Now, while I'm waiting for that to cool, I might as well get my twine ready. For now, I'm just going to glue twine onto the back of this so I can hang it. Eventually, when the weather warms up, I'd really like to make a frame for it. But for now, this will do. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little line of glue down. Actually, I'll just peel that up. I think I want it more toward the edge. And I'm putting so much on the back just so that I have more surface space of the glue. I think it's less likely to fall off if I have quite a bit with glue under it. Okay, it's been plenty of time. That's cool. I'll start down here with a circle. That way, if it's not adhered well, I don't have a whole new design to do. And actually, that's coming off just perfectly fine. Now, one thing I would do differently probably next time is I wouldn't have my excess paper up on the fabric. I can see right here and right here that it left just a little residue. It's not enough to ruin it, but it did leave a residue. Oh, that's cute. I love it. Now this is a super easy project, and because of all the different patterns and colors of fabric, you can really customize what you want your sign to look like. Thanks so much for joining me today. Until the next video. Bye-bye.